welcome to Widowed Too Soon. This is Michelle Bader Eversole. It's nice I can say my own name this time. Um, I'm sitting here with my friend and co-host, Mark Massaro. How's it going, Mark?
I am your co-hoist, apparently.
I didn't say hoist.
What did you say?
Co-hoist?
You said hoist or something.
No, I didn't. Co-host. I've said this, let's see, 92, 91 times. Well, plus more that never got aired. So I've said this like 100 times. I know how to say co-host.
Okay. We'll just have to listen back to it later.
Anyways. Yeah, you know when I do the transcripts, it will tell me if it says co-host or co-hoist. So
I definitely heard it wrong. It wasn't hoist. It just sounded a little funny. Doesn't matter.
Anyways, you're the one who can't pronounce my name. So.
I know. Like I have any room to talk.
Exactly.
What did I say? I said it weird. Yeah.
I don't know. It was weird. We don't need to bore them with this.
Ebbasole. That's what I said.
Yeah, and it literally in the transcripts it said EBBA soul. Ebbasole.
That's awesome.
Anyways, how's it going? What you been up to?
It is going well, thank you. Mm-hmm. I got into a boxing match with a silverback gorilla.
No, you did not. Why are you lying?
I'm not lying. He was big, a lot bigger than me. And but he was scared and he left the ring crying, which I felt bad about, No, obviously that is not true. Okay. I just like to have cool stories and I don't have any.
I know. You do? Like you've got real estate stuff going on, right? Tell us about that.
I do have real estate stuff going on. I've been decorating my office so that it feels a little more exciting to, be in the office when.
Like you go to an office. It's not like a home office. Like you go.
I have both, but yes, I have a work office. It's a building with walls, and I have a desk. I have my own desk, and I have a window in my office. It's cool, actually. I really like it.
Yeah.
I have a key to the building, so I can go whenever I want, which is great. So, yes, I've been doing that a little bit. I went to my son's school. Did I talk about that last time? I don't think I did. No, I got to go have lunch with him. It was awesome. He was super excited. So it was like Grand Day. So it's supposed to be for grandparents.
Right.
And last year they did not tell me that anybody could come. Right. So obviously their grandparents live in Southern California, so they would not have been able to make it for that. So I felt bad because nobody came for my kids.
Right.
But this year they said that anybody can come. And I was like, oh, cool. I did find that out last year after the fact.
Yeah.
But so anyways, I went to his school and he was so excited to see me. He was like, waving and just, oh man, I could see him like looking like he had headphones on like these and was looking out the classroom and all the parents that were in line to come in. And when he saw me, oh my gosh, his face lit up. And so I went and he showed me all the math stuff that he was working on. He loves math.
Nice.
And we went to the cafeteria and had lunch together. And then they set up a quote unquote scavenger hunt, which basically was like the things on the scavenger hunt were like the library, the gym, the STEM room. So it was just to kind of tour the school, just something else fun to do. And then we went over to the book fair and got some gifts for him. And then he picked some out for Alexis, for his sister, which was really sweet. So that was awesome. Sorry, my phone is not muted. I will mute it right now. Come on. Live.
Will you get that by 100? By 100 episodes, will you learn how to silence?
I will get that by 100 episodes. For sure.
Kind of did sound like that.
Eversoles.
Yes.
So yes, I will try. But now I know that my iPhone, thanks to you, has this little mute button on the side. So that's super cool.
It is.
I went to church with my cousin. And that was great. I cleaned my house. There hasn't been a whole lot. Yeah, there has. I cleaned really well, though. Oh, I do have something cool that happened.
Good.
Okay, yes. Okay, I was cleaning my garage, and I have one of those like little sticky traps that my bug people leave, like to catch spiders and things like that. And I about jumped out of my shoes when I looked over and saw that there was a snake in one of the sticky pads. It was this little tiny like rat snake. and it was maybe, I
A
don't know.
rat snake? You mean
Yeah.
a garter snake?
Well,
What's
I don't
a
know.
rat
That's
snake?
I don't know. My neighbor said it's a rat snake, and then she
I've
came over
never
and
heard
showed
of
me an image,
Oh,
and it
weird.
looked like that. So I guess it's a rat snake. I don't
Okay,
know.
rat snake.
So it was about maybe 18 inches long. It was in real,
Oh,
you
okay.
know, it was a little guy. But I mean, he was stuck in this thing, and the more he
Oh.
moved, the more he was like coiling up and getting stuck inside of this thing.
Ugh.
And I called my kids out to see it, and I told my daughter, I was like, gosh, he is like so stuck. Like, I think I'm just gonna have to like put him out of his misery, you know. He's not getting out of this thing. I don't know if you've seen those sticky traps. I mean, they're
Yeah.
crazy.
They are.
So she was like really sad about it,
Aw.
and I ended up. I was like, okay, well, I'll try. And so I ripped the trap open so I could, you know, see him. And then I got this idea to pour like hot water on him, and was thinking that maybe it would, you know, because they're cold blooded. So I was thinking maybe it would give him the
Oh.
strength to like pull
Smart.
off of the sticky stuff, and also maybe it would like loosen the adhesion of the sticky stuff. It didn't work. So I just decided to look online. How do you unsticky a sticky trap? And right away I saw this thing pop up that said cooking oil.
Oh.
So I went and got some cooking oil, and I was able to totally say this snake was going to die, like no doubt about it. And I poured cooking oil, and we were able to free him. So,
Nice.
and then we let him go, and it actually was kind of twofold because Alexis is like terrified of snakes.
Oh.
Like we had to. There was a restaurant. I don't remember if these are in California. I think they are, or on the West Coast, Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, so they have
that.
all the like, you know, taxidermy
Yeah.
stuff up on the walls, and so there was a snake, and we're like, we can't go eat there anymore
Oh.
because there's a snake on the
Right.
wall. So she's that scared of him.
Wow.
So, but she like felt bad for this little thing, and so now we go outside every day to like look for Snakey to see if he's like cruising
Cute.
around, and that she's like, I think he likes us, and I'm like, I think so too. And
Nice.
so anyways, it was super cool because, you know, it was kind of twofold. So for one, we saved this thing's life, and anybody who knows me knows I am not a fan of snakes. Like, I like looking at them through cages. I'm just never really been a fan of them. I think
don't
they're
like 'em.
fascinating. I just don't like them, you know?
Yeah. No.
And so anyway, but it felt cool to like have this, you know, little bonding moment where we saved the
Yeah.
snake's life, and but also like it seemed to like conquer her fear a little bit, and she
That's
was
awesome.
like, so not all, she calls snakes like sneaky snakes because like Satan is the sneaky snake,
Oh,
right?
Uh-huh.
So she calls all snakes sneaky snakes. That was really hard to say. And but she's like, I guess all snakes aren't sneaky snakes. And I'm like, no,
Nice.
no. And so anyways, that was
good.
exciting. That was cool. And, you know, I mopped my garage floor, which a lot of people would think is weird. I pressure washed my whole house.
Wow.
And yeah, I just had one of those really productive days, you know, the other day. So that felt nice. Anyways,
Good stuff.
you know, that's me making exciting stuff out of nothing exciting.
It's good.
So tell me, you're like Dora the Explorer.
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 What's wrong? We can't talk today.
Isn't that what it is? Oh, it's Dora the
Explorer.
Explorer.
Did
I
you
thought
think it was
they-
Explorer? Like that was a word?
No, not like that
Explorer.
was a word, but I just thought that's
Dora the Explorer. No, Explorer.
yeah.
Okay. Anyways, I'm like.
Isn't that how the
Dora.
song goes? Dora, Dora, Dora,
Dora
the Explorer.
Explorer.
Oh,
Well, they
okay.
might say it. Okay, whatever. What's your point?
That you travel around the world. It seems like you always
Yeah.
not travel around, but you just always have like all this exciting stuff going on.
Oh, it's just
and
the
you know,
season. It's just the season.
No, it's
I'm
it's
in.
awesome.
Like, there's a lot of stuff. So we got to go on a little vacation, just a couple days. So we'd never taken like my parents have like a camping trailer kind of thing, you know, those like an RV, but you pull it, you know, whatever those are called. And Joel had never even slept in one, never driven one, but he did great in driving it because that I would not drive it. So we went to Ellensburg, which is I would say 3.5 hours east of here. Eastern Washington, because that's where I have tons of relatives, aunts, uncles, cousins. Like, so on the way there, I'm like trying to explain to Joel who everybody is and like the family tree, and it's a whole crazy thing because I'm doubly related. Like, let me just tell you this really quick. My uncle Jerry, is my dad's uncle. Okay, that seems simple, right? But
Wait.
my aunt.
Your uncle is your dad's uncle?
Yeah, listen, he's my uncle and my great uncle. So Uncle Jerry,
Okay.
right here, Uncle Jerry was my grandma's brother, right? My dad's uncle. So by my dad's side, he would be my great uncle, right? Got that?
Okay.
Then my Aunt Phyllis, who married my Uncle Jerry, is my mom's sister. Okay?
Okay. Okay.
So I'm blood related to all these people on my dad's side and my mom's side. So it was
Okay.
kind of confusing. So it gets more confusing. But anyways,
It gets more confusing. Okay.
yeah, I wanted Joel to meet all these people. A lot of them were unable to travel to our wedding because they're older. And so it was good, but I also brought up a lot of grief because my aunt, who was kind of like a grandma to me, my grandma died when I was 3, and she's 18 years older than my mom, so she was like a grandma to me. She's now in like they call it a rehab, but it's basically a nursing home. It's very sad. It reminded me of a hospital. Just walking in there made me nauseous. And she's just sitting there, and just not able to talk. And I mean, she talked a little bit. She did. I also told the kids, like, I don't know if she'll be confused and like wonder why I'm with Joel and not your dad. Like, I don't know where she's at exactly, but she seemed to be good. She's like, oh, I said, this is my husband Joel. And she was like, oh, when did you get married? Like, it didn't seem to surprise her. Like 6 months ago, and then she's like, ooh, he gave you a pretty ring. And
that's cool.
I even explained, yeah, these diamonds are from Luke, and that didn't seem to confuse her. Like, I think she knew that I had been married to Luke. So and the same, we went to visit my Uncle Jerry, who lives at home still, and he can get around better, but it was still sad. Like, he just asked me a million times who I was, and this was cute. So Joel's like, so what advice do you, he's always asking people interesting questions, what advice do you have for us, like, younger people? Because my uncle's 88. Yeah, 88. So he said, don't cheat on your wife. I was like, that's a great one.
That's good advice.
I know. He goes, don't go running around with another woman. And I was like, good advice, Uncle Jerry. Not that I was worried about Joel, but yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, it was fun. So the trip was to meet them, and also they have this thing every Labor Day. They have Ellensburg Rodeo. So it's like a big thing. This is like a country town. Like, everybody goes to the rodeo. And we didn't actually have tickets with them. My brother had extra ones. Anyways, we went for like 15 minutes, and me and Joel were like, we're done. Like, it was just so boring. But other people love it. It was just interesting.
Was that your first rodeo?
No, it was not my first rodeo. No, for real. I'd been to it when I was a kid, but you just wanted to ask that. So,
I did.
To be funny.
Yep.
Anyways, so that was fun, and staying in the trailer was fun. Like, we had some good bonding time with the kids. Just my younger 2 were there, and we like played card games the first night, and it was kind of like camping, even though we were at somebody's house, but in a trailer. Good experience. And then on the way home, we actually stopped by Luke's mom is in the hospital. Without going into details about a lot of things, we got to stop by and see her. She's going to be fine. But it was really weird grief bringing Joel and my kids to the hospital to see Luke's mom and sister. But it was good. They they came to the wedding, so they've met him before, I think. And I think my mother-in-law had met him another time too. But it was like this obvious hole where Luke should be there. Like, it was really strange for me being there visiting her with Joel. And Joel did so great. I thanked him in the car. I was like, many men would not be able to do that, to step into, like, those are like my late husband's like family, and you're there and you're talking, interacting. And it was also like, I wasn't sure that they knew it was okay to talk about Luke in front of Joel. So I brought him up a couple times, and then they seemed more comfortable talking, that, yeah, Joel's good with us talking about Luke. So we talked about all kinds of things about Luke in front of Joel.
Sorry, I
and
just
the
kicked
kids.
my dog.
Okay. Anyways, that was interesting and brought like a little bit of grief. I just was crying after we left there. I think it was grief from the whole weekend, just seeing my aunt and uncle like that, and then just being there. Like, I really, like, whenever I'm with Luke's family, I know you probably feel this too, like, there's a huge hole. Like, obviously he should be there. And it feels like he's missing so much when I'm with his family. And but it's so important to keep those relationships alive between my kids and their grandparents. And I'm so thankful that we all have good relationships, and we were able to do that. I asked Peyton what his favorite part of the trip was, and he was like, visiting grandma, like, hands down.
That's cool.
So it was pretty much on our way home. We had to go a little bit different way, but it was totally worth it to be able to stop by and see her and show our support. And all of that stuff. So anyways, that was a little bit, let's see if I had, so I don't have super exciting things. We're working on this retreat we have coming up in this area. It's just tiny someday. And this is not really like Widow too soon. It's more like Widow Goals Retreat. Listeners, eventually we will have something big for everybody, men and women. Like we have big vision for that, but this is a little retreat, but even little retreats take a lot of planning. So we've been working on that.
I'm sure.
A lot. And I'm very excited about that and growing that. And then let's see, one last thing I want to say. Oh, I'm thinking about school starting. I'm feeling like I'm going to be a little emotional. Wednesday is Haley's last day. You know, she's going to be a senior. And I remember being emotional on Hayden's senior, like when he started his senior year, just because I wish her dad was there. And today they're going to go paint their parking spots. And she showed me what she's going to paint. She's going to paint this like sun and put "You Are My Sunshine." And that was her and Luke's song. And then put her name by it. And so, you know, like everything this year is going to be a little bit like emotional. She also knows that her dad did a voice recording for her graduation day. So she has that.
And she hasn't heard it?
Nope. I've saved it. Because Hayden, I gave him his. And so they all know they have one. And like what I did for him that day of his graduation, I just texted to him and said he could listen to it whenever he wanted. So we were talking about that the other day. And then when she was in 7th grade, she made a time capsule to open at the end of senior year. And everything was about her dad. Because that's right when he was like pretty sick. He'd been re-diagnosed, literally everything. And all the pictures, she put all her like daddy-daughter ball pictures in there and like all of this stuff. And the teachers actually left, but I kept in touch with her. I'm like, you still have that. Like, that's really important to us that you have the time capsule. And she said she does. So we were just talking about all these things coming up her senior year. And, you know, just a little bit of grief with that because I wish that her dad was here to see this. And like, as we start, you know, looking into college, just all the stuff, it's, you know, even though like I've already done this with Hayden and it was hard, it's like every child, I think it's going to be, it's its own thing. So anyways, that's some of the stuff going on with me. I can't believe people just listen to us babble sometimes about our lives, but they do. So thank you, listeners, for being here.
Yes.
It's been exciting. We've been talking about the growth that we've seen and just how much it's grown in the last couple years. And we love all of the stories that you guys send to us about how it's helping us. Thank you for doing that, helping you. It really encourages us to know that we're making
big time
a difference. So anyways, let's go ahead 17 minutes later, because I can see there's a timer on this. Let's get into the topic. So
sounds good.
I know.
What are we calling it?
Your spouse died. Now what? Or
Spouse
what now?
died. Now what?
I can't decide. They both.
You
sound
said
good.
you were just going to decide.
I know, but then when I was like, maybe it sounds better. You know, whenever the title comes out, that's the final word. So,
there you go.
anyways, what does this title mean to you, Mark?
Well, I think it's important for you and I to reflect back. So, first of all, one thing that I cannot believe I forgot to mention, and it's only because I felt like I talked about it already, but it had passed since we last recorded, was Lacey's birthday.
Oh, yes. Please share how that was
So
for you.
I did, you know, it was just, I remember us talking about it. And so that's why I felt like I talked about it already. But that was, August is just a terrible month for me now. Mm-hmm. And it was a rough August. So, you know, I wanted to wake me up when August ends.
Never heard
it's
that
a Green Day song, but it's September, when September ends.
Oh, that's why I didn't know. Yes.
So yes, it's Lacey went home on August 13th, 2020. Her birthday is August 29th. So anyways, I picked the kids up after school and I took them to get ice cream.
Nice.
And I kind of took a page out of your book and I just, you know, we talked about memories and what do you think, what flavor ice cream do you think mommy would get? And if you could tell mommy anything, what would you like to tell her? And things like that, you know? Yeah, it was cool. So thanks for the idea, even though
you're welcome.
I just totally stole it from you. But I thought it's, you know, it was meaningful. So anyway, so I just wanted to talk about that. I thought about that while you were talking. But anyways, so this topic to me, I think that you and I have to kind of go back to the beginning. So obviously, I think what now, the most important thing to do is to feel what you feel.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it's also important if you have children because they're watching you. They're watching you to see how to respond to this. And I was just talking about this, that I think that God gave me the ability to lead my kids through this, and they're doing well. Mm-hmm. So I think it's very important to feel what you feel, but to know right from the bat, I am not quitting. I am not giving up. So that would just kind of be my opening thought on that, is to just walk into it knowing like, this is hard. This, excuse me, I guess you can't really call it language, but just anyways, like, this sucks, and just go into it knowing that, and that you're going to get through it, though, that you are going to get through it, and you're not going to give up. So that would be my kind of opening thought. What about you?
Yeah, it's hard to, well, it's not hard, because in some ways, yes, it seems like a lifetime ago when I was first widowed, a little over 3 years ago. But then other ways, it seems like yesterday, like I can remember those feelings. I would say cling to God. Like, that's the number one thing. That's the number one way I survived. Like, literally, I was the closest I've ever been to God during that time period of just like, I have nothing else. I am so, it's like being in a whirlwind. Like, your whole life is literally turned upside down and shaken around, and like, you don't know which way's up or down, or like all of this stuff. It feels so crazy and swirling, and like the only constant I had was God, like clinging to him and just crying out to him, and turning on worship music and laying on the floor in the middle of the night crying, and just being like so open to like, okay, God, I have nothing. Like, what do I do? Like, comfort me. And he always would. That means like, usually I would cry through it and then feel better. Not like better, like everything's great, but like I can keep going. So I would say in the beginning, like clinging to God, like there's nothing else, because there really, really isn't. Like, that's their only constant when your whole world is turned upside down. And so some of you might like not really know, what does that mean, clinging to God? Like, literally for me, it was like praying all the time, just constantly, all day long. And then, like I said, worship music was something huge for me in the beginning. I mean, I still love it. And being like, letting yourself, like what Mark was saying, and like what I always say, what we feel, we heal. Let yourself feel the emotions. Don't hold it back. And tying that to kids too. I just talked to somebody in grief recovery about this. Like, let your kids see your emotions so they know it's okay. Another thing, I think we talked about this maybe a few weeks ago, that I learned through grief recovery, is don't stop your kids' emotions. Like, let them feel it. Same for yourself. Let yourself cry. Like, all this stuff. Same thing with your kids. Since they're babies, we try to stop them crying, but let them feel it so that they can be healed. Like, of course, be there to offer them a hug, but don't like stop their crying.
Don't say it's okay, don't cry,
it's okay,
or whatever.
Don't cry, it's okay. No, let them cry. You're actually stopping their healing process when you say don't cry. And that's our natural reaction. We've done it since they're babies. We try to stop their crying, but this is different. Like, we need to let them feel it. And so I would say definitely that for yourself and for your kids is letting them feel it. And then clinging to the people around you, like that, like your tribe we talked about before, your close friends and family, like letting them know what you need, and reaching out to them. I created a little chat group with like my closest friends. And I would just tell them, like, this is how I'm feeling today. This is what I need. Like, just literally like putting it out there. Like, but I know you did it much differently. You did not want to, like, you didn't want to burden anybody. And so you didn't do that. Like, would you change
Which was
that?
a mistake. Yeah, I would. It was a huge mistake. And without getting into specifics, my childhood created something in me that made me feel like people don't really care about what you're going through. And so I carried that into, even though I know people cared, I didn't want to bring the darkness that I was feeling into people's lives who weren't dealing with it. It felt like this massive burden that I was putting on them.
Yeah.
And I truly felt in my core that, like, even if people say they care, they don't. And that's something that I still struggle with. If I find myself opening up to somebody about something, usually within a few minutes, when I realize I've been talking for a few minutes, I'm like, oh, sorry. I don't mean to get into all that. I'm sorry. Actually, I was talking to my cousin about some stuff a couple weeks ago, and she literally took, well, I call her my cousin. It's my cousin's wife, but
yeah, I call it that's.
I call her my cousin. And so she said, Mark, I'm not joking. If you say sorry one more time, I'm driving over there and smacking you. And I was like, okay, sorry. Like unintentionally, like totally unintentionally. And so that was kind of funny. But so, yes, I don't know that if I go back, I could do it differently. But from this side of it, looking back, I know that I should have done it differently, if that makes sense. But I also wanted to expand upon what you were talking about, clinging to God. So you and I have talked about this on here before, but just to say it again, like when we say praying to God, for Michelle and I, it wasn't, dear Lord, like I'm struggling. Can you please help me? I mean, there was that too, but it was very much just a conversation.
Yes.
It was using him as my person to talk to. And I was like, Lord, like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? Like, what am I supposed to do now? And like what does this look like? I'm so scared and all this stuff. So it was very much not just like, but that's how we're supposed to be when we pray. We're supposed to talk to God. And if you're trying to make it sound all prim and proper, I personally think you're not looking at God in the right way.
Right.
He wants to be our friend. He wants to be our support. He wants us to cast our burdens upon him. And that was something I did a lot. I was like, you said I can put my burdens on you. Here are my burdens. And I would start listing them and saying, can you please take them from me? I can't handle it. And I really feel like he did, because he started, and I've talked about this too on the podcast, but I used to have this huge poster size picture of Lacey from our wedding day in my closet. It was from the Celebration of Life.
Right.
And I would just go in there and stare at it, and it would always make me heartbroken.
Right.
And I remember one day going in there and looking at it, and I just had so much peace as I was picturing her like running around with Jesus. And it was such a gift. And I felt like I was able to like look at things differently after that. But also, there's so many logistics that come from losing your spouse. Okay, you got to get Social Security figured out. If there's life insurance, if there's, you got to get things transferred into your name. You got to get death certificates. You got to get them removed from bank accounts. Some people have to go through probate and wills and all this other stuff that there's just like, there's no way to prepare yourself for all the stuff that's coming. And so that is from our perspective of knowing they were dying.
Right.
But then there's like Tina, for example, and many other people that we've talked to lost their spouse in an instant.
Yeah.
And gosh, talk about trying to put all the pieces together. I mean, I remember you talking about this stuff too, but hearing Tina talk about it, like I remember one time, and I don't know if I'm sure this is okay that I share it, but she had a like a breakdown from, she was like doing like landscaping, putting mulch in her garden, and something wasn't, I think maybe it was heavy or something wasn't working the way it was supposed to. And she just got so mad and like threw the thing on the ground and was like, I shouldn't have to do this, and was like, and was just so upset that like, and it's a weird way that grief strikes.
Yeah.
I had the same exact feeling, but for me, it was when I was walking around in the grocery store and I just became so overwhelmed and I was like, I don't know what to do. And I just like pushed the cart away from me and I walked out of the store. And it's like weird. That stuff is so weird. But so I think it's valuable for people to know that we understand that a lot of things that Michelle and I have gone through are different from what a lot of you have gone through, because we did know our spouses were dying. It might not be the same way for you to tell yourself right away, like, I'm going to get through this, or, something like what I was mentioning earlier. Mm-hmm. We had a lot of time to know, and I was just talking about this earlier, where for me it went from, oh my gosh, like, this is crazy, like, Lacey might die from this. And then a few months later it was, oh my gosh, like, really, it could go either way. Like, she might not survive this. Mm-hmm. And then it was, oh my gosh, like, she's probably going to die from this. It's just like, well, when? And then it was, she's going to die from this. Yep. So we had this, mm-hmm. What do you call it? Not pre-grief.
Anticipatory grief.
Anticipatory grief. And mm-hmm. that's very different than what a lot of people went through. And so, we always try to have perspective. That's why we like having guests and everything. So anyways, That was my super long ramble about, the next steps. But yeah, so.
Well, when you're talking about all the things you have to do, like, even before those things, you have to make burial decisions and all of that. So I would highly recommend enlisting someone to help you. You can, but it's easier to make those decisions with somebody helping you.
Yes.
About all of that. Now, because of our situation, we knew Luke was dying. We had a lot of it decided beforehand. But I know a lot of you can't do that with the sudden deaths. But asking family or a close friend, could you please help me with this process? And even I remember, I think Deborah, my best friend, was here for part of it. Like, well, my parents helped me, like, at the cemetery, and then I think Deborah was there too. And we were part of it. I don't know. So I had friends and family helping me with some of those decisions. And I mean, I remember it's the day he died, we had to make decisions. Like, well, we had to know where his body was going to go. And then, like, all of this stuff was, like, so overwhelming. But asking people to help you, I think, is huge. And people want to help and they don't know what to do. And so being very, very specific with what you need. I actually just talked to someone in grief recovery about this today. We were discussing, like, the beginning and, like, what dumb things people say, like, let me know if there's anything I can do. Like, how can I help? I mean, let me know, and you're like, I don't know. So it's nice if they're specific, but if they're not, you can be specific to them and say, here's what I need. This, that's where your, like, tribe comes in, and, like, you can text them, these are the things I need. Like, I literally can't make dinner. Can someone bring it to me? And people want to be needed and helped. And so that's something in the beginning. And then I circled this, I just wrote it down. Community, find a community, a couple things, like a good church. If you're not involved in a church, I'd recommend go on Facebook and say, hey, does anyone know a local church that they recommend? People will recommend their church and start plugging in. And then building a widow community. This is huge, and most likely it'll be online unless you have people in your local area. But that's how Mark and I met, was through a Facebook widow group. We have our Widow Too Soon page. You can find it in the links. There are tons of people there that you can interact with. Mm-hmm. Just finding other like-minded people who get it. Who understand. They won't know your exact journey because none of us have the same, but they will get it. Like, that's why Mark and I became such good friends, because we're like, we had the same cancer widow experience near the same time period. And it was just like, whoa, someone else who gets it. Like, mm-hmm. I've never been able to talk to somebody who gets it. And that was huge for me in the beginning, is like finding people, or it doesn't have to be a lot. Like, for me, it was finding someone specific who could really relate to this, like, whole journey. Because as much as I love my friends and family, they didn't get it.
Yeah. And a lot of them are not, you have to know this too. A lot of them are not prepared for the darkness that you have felt. Yeah. And, and I mean, you, the audience, like, so you've been through some very dark stuff that, as I said, we know the age range of most of our audience members. And so we know that majority of you listening are within 10 years, either way, of Michelle and I. And so at this age, you're not going to find a lot of people that have been through this. Right. So it's hard sometimes to talk about the darkness. Like, for example, it was very hard for me to open up to people and say that after she died, they didn't come and pick her up for like 3 hours. So I was just like in the room with her. And most people aren't prepared to like handle what I wanted to tell them about that. And so that's something that's what, just elaborate or expanding on your point, that I think it is really important to get people that understand. So like, but you know, continue on with what you're saying, but I just wanted to add that in.
Just remind me that I have a good friend. She's still a good friend, but she was amazing. Like did all these amazing things for my family, but she was honest with me. She's like, I can't deal with death. Like, I'm like, okay. So I knew she wasn't the friend to help me through those kind of things. I loved that she was honest rather than that, but she's done so many amazing things for me. But finding, the community, we talked about this before. You can also go to meetup.com and find people in your area. But that was, and pray for widow friends. Like I have really good widow friends in my area. And part of them is because like, I don't know, God put them in my life in different ways. And then part of it is like, because I started something, I know lots of widows in the area. And that's another thing too. If you don't know any widows, you start it, make a Facebook group or make a meetup.com and just put it out there and it will start growing. And there are more widows in your area than you know about. So that was definitely something huge for me.
And sorry, go ahead. Finding
Nemo. Finding community. But what were you?
What did you interrupt me for? That's what you were going to say.
Yeah, you interrupted me.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
One of those people who like, if I don't say it, I'm going to forget. I got to say it right now.
I just got excited. Well, I should be like you and be smart and take notes.
You write it down when you think of it, and you wait for the other person to stop talking, and then you say it. Like maybe by episode 100, we'll get this.
I'm sorry. I don't even remember what I interrupted you for now.
I don't even know. Because
I'm sorry.
I was talking about community, meetup.com, people in your area, start something.
Yes. I was just, I do remember, yes, but I didn't want to interrupt you again.
Okay, no, go ahead now. Your turn.
So also, it is very helpful to you when you're helping others. So if you do start some kind of widowed group in your community or something like that, or if you talk to your church, find out if there's any other widows and see if there's something you can do to help them. Hey, like and it's also a great testimony, Yeah. If you're going through a hard time and you're trying to serve other people, it's beautiful. But I think that's really important for your own self-healing, because we all know that it feels so much better to like help somebody else than have somebody help you, and to know that you're being helpful to somebody. So let's see. Was that important enough to interrupt you for?
Okay.
I don't know.
Point out something, because this came up in a grief recovery session I did recently, that's important. It's good to give back as long as you're not doing it as a way to like just forget about your own stuff. Like as long as you still deal with your stuff, then it's a good thing. It's finding that balance of
definitely
I'm helping other people, but I'm still working through my own grief.
And I would say on that to make sure you're probably at least 3 months out. And everybody's timeline is different. We talk about that all the time, but just reflecting back to when I was ready to start doing something like that, it was probably like 3 months. But the cool thing is about it is, when you feel like you're giving somebody helpful advice, it's therapeutic for you.
Yeah.
So, for example, this podcast, I had no idea how helpful it was going to be to get to talk about it this much.
Yeah.
So start a podcast and we'll have you on as a guest, and we'll help you promote your podcast as long as, we feel like we can promote your podcast.
You can make as much money as us.
Yes.
Big
yes. Big ballers. Yes. Want to be a baller, shot caller, 20-inch blades on the Impala. Collar, never mind.
Oh, stop it.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I was just instinctively singing it. Sorry.
No, I don't think of the words until
I'm
I
a
get
hip hop
right there.
listener. Yes,
and
me
then
too.
Like, oh wait, can't sing.
Yeah. So I'm just a hip hopper. I used to listen to a lot of rap music. I still do. It's my my confession. I still listen to a lot of rap music.
You know what? There's a lot of good rap music, but country's good too.
That's what Tina keeps telling me.
She likes country.
She loves country.
Oh,
like,
good girl.
So yeah, to her it's like, oh, and she said hi, by the way.
Oh, hi.
Well,
wait,
you just
she
did.
Can hear me. Hi, Tina.
So yes, she's a big country music fan, and I was sharing with her that Lacey always tried to get me to listen to country music.
Oh,
I found a
nice.
couple songs that I do like, but they're kind of, it's just not really my style. There's nothing wrong
That's
with
okay.
it.
We all
It's
have
just not
different
really
styles.
my style, Yeah. So, anyways, what were we talking about?
I don't know. We
being
all
big
just-
ballers. That's what we were
Oh, yeah,
talking
yeah.
about.
Start
Yes.
a podcast.
Start your podcast, make a bunch of money like we do, live in luxury,
Yeah.
No.
okay, let's
But
go
you know
back
what's
to our-
crazy?
Yeah.
I do want to say this. Okay. So when we started this podcast, do you remember me telling you? I was like, gosh, if 10 people listen to
Yes.
this, that would like blow my mind.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, gosh, if we, you know what, you're right. Because even if we can only help one person, like this
One.
is totally worth it.
Yeah.
But I was just so convinced. I'm like, nobody cares. Like, right? Like I was just talking about earlier. I was like, nobody cares what I have to say. So I just saw a statistic that I shared with Michelle that we are averaging 2,000 listens per month in
Woo!
73 countries around the
That
world.
is
Now, of
amazing.
course, it's very small time compared to big podcasters, but we are in the top 1%
1%.
of all podcasts.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's crazy. Like,
True.
and it's not, obviously, there's nothing to boast about. We don't, make tons of money. We don't do this to
We
make
don't
money.
make
We joke about that, but we do it because we care about helping people. And so knowing that we've helped that many people is just mind blowing to
yeah,
me.
it is. It's kind of crazy. Especially all over
It's
the
crazy.
world.
That's almost half of the countries in the world. And now, at least one person from all of these countries has listened to at least one episode. So, I want to, be clarifying the reality here. But anyways, so that has blown my mind. So just to give you an idea, we're just a couple people who started a podcast talking about what we've been through
Yeah.
and how God has helped us and shown us grace and carried us through. So start a podcast. It feels so therapeutic to talk about it. And here's the cool thing. You don't have to air it. If you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to air it. But talk about it. Like
Yeah.
make an episode telling your story. Then make an episode talking about how God has helped you. And then if you have the courage, release the episode. But it doesn't get released until you decide to hit release. And so just try it. And I'm telling you, it is so therapeutic to just talk out loud about what has happened to you, what you've been through, what your spouse went through, all these different things. So I would just encourage you to do that, or writing, right? We've talked about
yeah,
that.
That's good.
Find an outlet. That's what we're trying to get at. Find an outlet. Don't just bottle it up inside. Don't just eat TV dinners and sit on your couch
With your cats.
with your cats. Like, you can do that for a while, but don't let that become your new identity.
Yeah.
Remember that your identity is in Christ and not in your marriage, because so many of us go through that. I remember you and I both talked about that. It was
Yeah.
like, who am I
Who
now?
am I now? Like, I'm not married anymore. I'm not Luke's wife.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, gosh, I was just Mark Massaro again for the first time in, at that time, 17 years, I think. And I thought back to like who I was before Lacey, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't want to become that clueless guy again, So anyways, it's scary. It's scary. But stand firm on your faith and know that your identity is in Christ. Your confidence comes from your salvation. You can rest assured in that. And something I used to always tell myself that gave me incredible strength, I would just muster it up to say this. I would say, no matter what Satan throws at me, he can't touch my salvation.
can't
And that
touch
just
this.
gave me,
Had to add that.
my faith hits me so hard, makes me say, oh my Lord.
My face. hits me.
Yeah.
Nice. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I did. So
No, that's okay. That's what a conversation is, a series of
Right.
interruptions,
So yeah, pretty much.
So
Anyways, you can't touch my salvation. I think you've said that before, and I've said
I know.
you can't touch it before.
I know.
Yeah. It's our whole thing. Yeah.
Hey, it's still funny. But yes,
We don't know if it's funny. We don't. Here's the weird thing. We don't know if people laugh.
I laugh, so it's
if
funny
they're-
to me.
Or if they're like rolling their eyes, like seriously, or if they're pushing the fast forward 10 seconds, fast forward 10 seconds, fast forward 10
That's
seconds.
possible.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm okay with that. Like,
Yeah.
I laughed.
Okay, good. Okay, let's get back
So,
to our topic at
yes.
hand.
Yes. Well, we kind of were on topic.
Kind of. Loosely.
Topic-ish.
So, topic-ish. So another thing is kind of like talking about the tribe and people to help you. Like, accept help. Like, don't say no when people want to help you. Like, that's huge. I had people help me with everything. Like, it was like the day or two after my whole family's there. We're doing stuff in the backyard. They're like cleaning out this air filter thing, which, side note, those are supposed to be changed like every few months. I mean, we went years in my old house and in this house. And Joel's like, time to change the filter. I'm like, we just did it. He's like, it's like every few months. I'm like, I had no idea. So
Yeah, it's four times a year.
Oh, wow. Well, that's
I don't do it 4 times a year. I do it twice a year. I do it when I start cooling. I do it when I start heating.
Okay.
Because in the spring and fall, I'm not really running my unit.
Yeah. Interesting.
So
anyways,
that's my philosophy.
I remember them doing that. And then, then I had friends who came over and helped me clean my house. Like, there were just like people that like just came to do things. They wanted to help. And so I did not turn down the help. And, yeah, side note, this doesn't have to do with it, but it reminds me of that time period. This was really traumatic for me. So Luke had an oxygen machine that we would use when he needed help breathing. We used it his last morning. He was alive. And I had a friend. So after he passed away, I had a friend visiting. And all of a sudden, there's a knock at the door. They're like, we're here for the machine. Like, it literally was a couple days. And now it doesn't sound that traumatic. But at the moment, I just remember being totally like, I'm crying. And I'm like, he just died. Why are you here? It was so weird. Now it doesn't even sound that traumatic. It was traumatic in the moment.
I get it.
I feel like there was more to it, but it was like, so my friend was helping me, like, because we had to like get the tubes together and like all of this stuff. It just
And you had the note on your door, right? Or on your window?
What? No.
Or was that a California thing? The note that says there's oxygen in the house?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah,
about that.
it's like if the fire department, this is what they told me. They said if the fire department goes by, they'll know that with this sign in your window that they need to come in and like you're a priority.
Oh, I've never heard that.
Because it's, obviously it's extremely important to get the oxygen tanks out of the house if there's a fire.
Yeah, that's true. But anyways, I just remember
Anyway,
being
sorry.
traumatic because that's
Sure.
like the last thing I did was give him oxygen and all this stuff. And I don't even know the point of that. Just, I had a friend there with me, which was helpful
Right.
because she was able to talk to them and like, I can't even
Deal
remember.
with it.
And deal with it. But there are like all these things that will pop up like the first little while that it's helpful if you have somebody. I think the worst feeling is feeling alone. Like,
Yes.
I remember so many
Absolutely.
times like nobody gets this. Like nobody. But those are the times that I would really like cry out to God too. But I hated that feeling of like, my friends don't get this. My family don't get this. Like, I am so, like, I didn't really go through angry. It was just like frustrated. Like, why is this my life?
That was when I got so tired of hearing over and over, I can't even imagine.
Can't even imagine you're
Can't
so
even
strong.
imagine. You're so strong.
You're so strong.
I can't even, but seriously, that bugged me.
I know.
Like, I'm like, great. Like, I'm all by myself, So it's funny though.
Myself, don't wanna be. Okay, anyways. We are on a roll. Like,
That
we're
was
making
pretty
up for all
good.
those episodes because when we have guests, we don't really sing so much. So we're making up for those episodes today. But anyways,
Yes.
all by yourself. You were saying something before I interrupted.
That was
with
good.
this
Yeah. So it's interesting because for us, it was very different. So for you, them coming and taking the oxygen tank was traumatic.
Yeah.
For me, I was pissed off that they weren't coming and picking up the equipment
Oh,
because I wanted all this hospital stuff out of my house.
yeah.
And it's just interesting. So I want people to know that like we all deal with things differently and it's
Yes.
okay whichever way you go. Also, we've talked about this before. You really struggled getting rid of anything.
Still have.
I wanted to I had this philosophy that I was like, I'm already broken right now. I want to get rid of everything while I'm all broken. And like, I just want to deal with everything at once.
Yeah.
For me, that felt like that was the best idea at that time. But also, like, my head was spinning at that time. Like, I was trying to hold it together and I was not together. But I had my friends that came over and I said, can you guys help me? And we took the bed apart, like her hospital bed. We took everything because they told me they were supposed to have come and picked it up like the day of or the next day, and then they ended up telling me it's going to be like 2 weeks. I was like, no. So I took everything, all the medical equipment. There was a lot, and I just put it all on the side of my house, outside. And so it's just, I want people to know that also, that we all handle things differently. However you need to do it. I know people that have not touched
Me too.
a nightstand, or that the
Yep.
toothbrush is still where they left it years later, or whatever it might be. That's all okay. Like, you do it when you're ready.
Exactly.
And if also, if you're like me and you just feel like that's therapeutic for you to get rid of it, a lot of people thought it was weird, thought I was doing it prematurely, thought I was going to regret it. I never regretted it. But I did, I let my daughter go through mommy's stuff. What do you want? Is there anything you want? I showed her all the stuff. Of course, Lacey's parents, I let them, anything you guys want, da-da-da. But aside from that, but also, Lacey wasn't a very material person. So she didn't have clothes she really cared about. You know what I mean? Like, they were just clothes. So it wasn't like anything was sentimental. I did keep some things. My daughter kept some things. But anyways, so that was my thing. I don't remember why I even went on to that. Gosh, we are so random today.
It's okay. It's a random Monday. So, no, I think your point was, like, we deal with things differently, and that's okay. Like,
Yeah.
really, there's no, like, wrong way. Like, it's okay to do, like, how you want to do it, and, like, get rid of things in your time or not, or whatever. So, anything else we want to say?
I'm just over here smiling because you don't know how hard it was for me to not sing when you said Monday. Monday. Or I was debating between that and I think it's The Cure. Thursday, I don't care about you. It's Friday. I'm in love.
But I didn't say Friday or Thursday, so that was,
I know, but it said something about Monday in that
it's a day
song.
of the week. Yeah. So that's
Mondays, you will fall apart. Tuesday, Wednesday, break my heart.
Okay, I do remember.
Yeah, something like that. I don't remember the lyrics.
That's good.
So, super
tell you
valuable
had, like,
information.
You had like a weird smile on your face.
Yeah,
so
I
knew
did.
there was like something going on
Because
in your head.
when you look back at the video, you were looked away, but when you said Monday, I'm all like I was totally about to start.
Funny, but my point is there anything else we want to say, or is that all?
That's
you
your
want to say
point?
about that? That's all I want to say about that. I don't sound like you, like Forrest. That's all I want to say
Yeah.
about that. Mine sounds like a weird.
You and little Forrest can stay with me in
There you
Greenbow.
go. Yeah, you have a great Forrest impression.
Hello. That's my boat.
I want to tell you a funny side note.
Okay.
So it has to do with Forrest Gump. So
Great.
it was before Luke died. I was actually in Las Vegas with a friend, and I used to have like all kinds of like conferences there. I don't think it was a conference though. Anyways, it was near Halloween time. There was a guy dressed up as Lieutenant Dan with no legs,
Nice.
and I got so mad at him, and I was like, "My husband's an actual amputee." And
Oh,
like,
he
I
wasn't an
felt
actual
like-
amputee.
No.
Oh,
And
okay.
so, but looking at it now, it's not really a big deal. But at the moment, I was like, I actually talked to him. I wasn't like mad. I was just like, yeah, it's, like my husband's an actual amputee. And so I don't know how I feel about that. But anyways, I don't know. It's not that like,
You know what? If I
Here's what I
saw
felt in
that
the
guy, I would have said, Lieutenant Dan, new legs.
funny.
Yep. Sorry.
Not
Anyways.
really funny. Like I still have triggers. Okay, here's another side note. Just when Joel and I were in Boston, there was a family friend who came to a barbecue who's an amputee. Like his leg, he'd been in an accident, but it always triggers me. Not like triggers bad, but it's interesting.
Reminder. Yeah.
When I see an amputee. But I ended up talking to him, and anyways, it was cool, like just getting to see where he's at and how his was like this like awful accident, but he's doing okay. But anyways, that's not really much of a story, but just there are triggers, and so whenever I see a mailman, because Luke was a mailman, when I see amputee, there's just different things.
Yeah.
Like
For me, one of those ones is whenever I hear about somebody that found out they have cancer.
oh yeah.
Oh, it's like I just want to like start crying because I feel like I know what they're about to go through. And when just hearing them talk, I don't know, just knowing that they're in the very beginning of that journey is just like, it's overwhelming for me. That's one of them. Or like you mentioned earlier, I have the same trigger going into hospitals.
Oh,
Yeah, there's just a lot of things that remind you. Yeah, I mean, I won't get into more stuff, but yes, I have a lot of those things too.
Yeah,
where just
and I
even hearing about certain things is like, oh man, you know?
Yeah, and even where we're at, a little over 3 years out, it's good to still feel it. Like, don't like stuff that feeling. Let yourself feel what you're feeling in the moment,
Right.
and then move forward. Like I talked about last week when I was like on the race and I ran by places Luke and I used to go, and like I actually cried on the run. Like letting yourself feel it. Like I do think that's something we'll continue to go on through life. Like we'll have these moments though, like even 20 years from now, and all these times we'll remember our late spouse and yeah, and have like, you know, memories and all of that stuff. And so I think it's good to just let ourselves feel that. But anyways, I think we've talked this subject out. So
that's all I have to say about
that's
that.
all I got. Yeah, me too. So would you like to pray?
This podcast is like a box of chocolates.
No, true.
You never know what you're going to get.
That is so true.
Yes. So anyways, so hey, listeners, also if things go as planned, tune in next week. We're going to have another widower on as a guest, who has actually become my friend through this podcast. So really nice guy. So tune in to hear that story also. So you want me to go ahead and you got to pray.
Pray. Wait, I was going to say pray just to make it today.
Was that MC Hammer?
I was literally saying it. Yes, I was literally saying it as you started singing it. Like we were on a roll today with our songs.
Yep.
Pray just to make it today. Hey.
So Tina wants me to do karaoke and thinks I would be awesome at it. And I'm like, the thing is the only reason I can do this is because
so good.
The audience isn't watching me.
We could just do a karaoke podcast one day. I mean, just us.
Yeah.
So. No, but you and her should go out to karaoke, and it would be so much fun. You would be like so good at because you know every word. Like seriously, like a rap song, like an Eminem, you know, and like.
Yep, she wants me to do that.
You guys should
we'll see.
So do that. Yeah.
We'll see. She might be able to get me to do that one day. I don't know.
She will. I have confidence in her.
Yeah, she has the ability for sure to convince me. She's like, "Come on." I'm like, "All right." I'm a people pleaser and I'm really a Tina pleaser. So
I like that.
You know, I like to make her happy. So I'll probably uncomfortably go do it.
That's kind of like Joel with dancing. Like he doesn't really love it, but he does it for me.
Yeah, and that's cool.
He is very much a people pleaser too, and like he definitely, which is a good and a bad thing. Like there's pros and cons to that.
Yes, tend to get walked on a lot in life.
Yes, well, and I'll always ask him like, no, what do you want? Not what you think I want. Like, what do you want to do? You know, like really just making sure that it's not just to make me happy. Like,
is he like, I want nachos with everything on the side?
Yes. No, everything we order is on the side. Like
I remember you used to talk about that. You were like, if I get nachos, like everything's on the side.
Like,
I'm like, so what?
Yeah, we order things together, and he's very good about it. Okay, so here's a fun story, and then we'll wrap it up. So we tried Buffalo Wild Wings for the first time when we were in Boston. It was late at night, the only thing open, and we just flown in. And like, I don't, you know, like spices, like anything hot. And we tried this sauce, and it was so
You
hot.
don't like spicy food?
No. Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
And then finally, I got to order one. He's like, there was ones that had just like some seasoning. He's like, order the seasoning on the side. You're not going to like it. And I was glad he did. Anyways, I would like dip. It was so you can order wings plain. So they were plain
and
dry.
Like,
dip it in a little bit and eat it. Anyways, that's not really an exciting story. Just the fact is like, I literally order always on the side. Like he just knows that when we share something, it's on the side. And even when I order something, he says, get on side and I'll put it on mine. Like, cause I never have.
Does he like spicy food?
Yes. And he likes all condiments, and I hate all condiments. So
go
like,
Joel.
Any
That's
sauces,
cool. Joel's normal.
I know. And, you know, my kids are worse than me. They don't need any sauces or anything. They think, you know, our seasoning, like we put salt on everything, Red Robin salt. So, like,
Nice. I remember you said Luke loved ketchup.
oh yeah.
Do your kids like ketchup?
No, they won't touch it.
Really? Okay.
Yep, it's one of those.
It's fascinating information. Do you hear that, audience? Michelle's kids do not like ketchup. Now you know that.
I'm sure they really want to know all this
Yeah.
random stuff we talk about.
Yes, I think so.
So let's
It's
wrap it
important
up.
information. Yeah, let's wrap it
It's
up.
been an hour, and I'm sure they're ready.
Is it? Oh, yeah. Okay. Time to
So
wrap it up.
Would
Okay.
you pray? Thank
I
you.
would.
Would. Okay.
Lord, thank you so much for all of the blessings you bestow upon our lives on a regular basis, even the ones we don't see. Thank you for walking us through these incredibly dark and hard seasons, that we can just count on you to be there for us and help us remember, Lord, that you never promised that this life would be easy. You never promised that once we became believers that we wouldn't have troubles. In fact, let us remember that you said we would have trials and tribulations. So help us be strong and courageous, Lord. Help us be warriors for your kingdom. And help all of those in the beginning of this journey, Lord, or anybody who's struggling, no matter where they're at in this journey, to find a way to pick up the pieces and to remember that their identity is in you. We ask you all of these things in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
Amen. If you liked this podcast, what do we do? Oh, give it a little ping. Mic drop, 5 stars. That was Mark dropping his pen. If you're not watching the video, very
Yes.
good. Or take a minute to review it. That would be awesome. It helps get the word out. If you would like, if you like to be a guest, hopefully there's a link in this episode that I've created. There should be. If not, you can email us. But there should be a link that you can click on to fill out a form, a little bit about your story, and we will get back to you as soon as you can. We can, not as soon as
To
we
be a guest? I
Yeah,
missed the first part.
No,
that
they're
what you're
gonna
talking
fill
about?
out the form, and it's a little bit about their story. And we talked about this, and then we will contact them about
Okay.
being guests.
Gotcha.
Thank you guys for all of you who participated in our poll, in our survey about what you would like. Almost like I think 98% of people want a mixture of just Mark and I doing episodes, and then other widows. So we are going to do that. Maybe about half and half, or 3/4 and 1/4. I don't know exactly the ratio, but we listened, and we're going to continue interviewing other people. And if you want to talk to us about anything, you can email us at widowedtoosoon@widowgoals.org. You can find us on Facebook, Widow Too Soon, Instagram, Widow Too Soon. This is with a number 2, all the places. I think that's everything. Oh, also, I like to mention this every time, that Widow Goals is what sponsors Widow Too Soon. It is the nonprofit we are under. We also provide scholarships for grief recovery classes, social media support, and events. So if you've been blessed by this podcast and want to give back, you can go to the link in the show notes and have a tax-free donation. So I think that's all I got to say. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
God bless you.
All right. Bye.